Welcome to the second episode of the Don't Argue. That's right. We're back for another week, kids. We haven't been booted off yet, mate, so we must
back for round two, Matty. We've done something right, mate.
Yeah, absolutely we have. And great to have you on board, mate. And I know you're up and about a little bit because your Newcastle Knights got off to a flyer last week, and we're going to talk about that as the show rolls on. But what a huge round one of NRL action it was, Gids.
Matty, absolutely, mate. It was great to see the footy back on, mate, on TV, and obviously playing for competition points this time. So, you know, when Thursday morning rolled around, I think everyone had a bit more of a spring in their step, certainly rugby league fans. So, mate, great to have the footy back on. Exciting, mate, weekend. And as you said, mate, yeah, we'll touch on the Knights, that big upset win, but there's plenty to talk about. There's a few injuries, which is unfortunate, a few upsets, and a couple of younger players, mate, that they kind of put their stamp on the game and their club. So really good weekend, and it rolls into round two.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was great to see crowds back at the footy, and they really come out and supported their teams, which I think is fantastic as well, kids, isn't it? You know, you can just feel we're just all systems go in 2022.
Oh, mate, I think that was the biggest sort of excitement, that, you know, people were rolling into the footy again and not having to, you know, QR code and, you know, test themselves, and full crowds and no social distancing. So it was like we were getting back to normal, which is great to see on TV. And obviously, if you're amongst those crowds, I'm sure it was wonderful to be watching the footy live again amongst plenty of fans who are passionate about their team. So a lot of teams get their first home game this week.
Yeah, let's have a look at the bunker review, of course, from last week, round one action. And, the reigning premiers, the Penrith Panthers, they were absolutely clinical. They were fantastic against Manly. We know Manly are always a formidable combination to come up against, kids. And to be honest, they just they turned it on, didn't they?
Mate, the Sea Eagles never stood a chance, really. And I'll put my hand up. I questioned whether the Panthers you know, could stay at the top after, you know, being there for a few years now. Obviously, Cleary out as well, round one, which was, you know, we all had some uncertainty around how they would go without him. But young O'Sullivan, who stepped in, he took control. I thought his ball playing was really sharp, played really square, had some really good finishing touches at the end of their sets. And mate, the other one was, which I was expecting a big game from Turbo, and they just contained him. They had a game plan around kicking high. I think it was kicking high into Saab's corner, and they done a job on their back three. So didn't really see much opportunity for the Eagles to have some attacking plays that they normally get up to.
And I reckon Gids, Ivan Cleary, he is an absolute. He's a top echelon coach now, isn't he? You know, the homework and, you know, what he's putting into the team week in, week out, and to get the boys up and get them firing for another season. I know it's only round one, but I tell you what, they are looking ominous.
Yeah, they're looking big. They're looking strong. Obviously, they've got a tough forward pack. I was impressed by Kikau as well. I know he's had some questions raised around his consistency, around, you know, big games. You know, one game he'll be running over and steamrolling all sorts of his opponents. But I thought he got off to a flying start. He looked big. He looked aggressive. And to be honest, when you're a half defending opposite him, when he's looking like that, she's normally not a good day.
Absolutely. Some big boys running around in that pack. That is
Mate, the other one I wanted to mention was Dylan Edwards, fullback. I thought they spoke about how fit he is, you know, as a player in general, but the off-season, apparently he's done even more Ks and set more records in their long-distance running. So his endurance is obviously a huge plus for their team, and I think he ran up the high 200s, or might have got past 300 metres in that game. So big effort by him.
That is huge. That is huge. Now, what about the Rabbitohs, mate? They're probably the big story too to come out of round one. One of the upsets of the round, the Broncos. I think talking last week, we didn't really give the Broncos much of a chance against the Rabbitohs, but gee whiz, they were good. They were impressive, and they ran the ball, and they just looked like they were just there to play, didn't they, Gids?
Yeah, man, I think everyone was thinking the same. Once Adam Reynolds was out, I mean, that game was earmarked as soon as Reynolds went from the Bunnies to the Broncos. So when he was ruled out, I think everyone sort of moved their thoughts to, okay, well, the Bunnies will get this one done. But I think a really important win for Kevy Walters up there, and the Brisbane Broncos players and fans probably a weight off their shoulders, that round one performance at their home ground. But they get Latrell Mitchell back this week, so interesting to see, what impact he'll have on their team. But I think, mate, we spoke about last week the Wayne Bennett effect and how teams move on after Wayne has left as head coach. So the pressure's on there, mate, this week.
Well, I was going to ask you that, mate. Is the pressure cooker, the pressure valve? I know it's only one round in, but Jason Demetrio, you come in after such a legend of the game in Wayne Bennett. It's a hard gig at times, kids, to come in after someone like that, isn't it?
Mate, it's a tough gig, and if you look at the history of coaches that have come in after Wayne, it's not easy. So, and I guess there's a number of reasons. The media certainly put some pressure on the incoming coach, and look, it's going to be tough. But look, round two, the pressure builds again. Every team wants to get off to a cracking start and win their first game. But then, all of a sudden, if you're 0-2 and you've come out of a grand final the year before, mate, the old pressure cooker of coaching, she's pretty relentless.
And fair to say they've drifted in betting for the premiership too. They're from $10 out to $15 at Palmerbet. So the boys at Palmerbet have just said, nah, we don't want a piece of the bunnies. Let's keep winding out. So they've got a tough task. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. They play the Melbourne Storm, mate, this week. So it's going to be
can I make a point there, Matty? I think we were saying the same thing about Desi Hasler and Manly last year. I remember the same type of headlines last year, and look at the way they turned around this season and how they kicked on into the finals. So, 1, 2 games, 5 games. It doesn't. Rome wasn't built in a day, mate.
That's exactly right, kids. And you said it's a tough gig to come in after Wayne Bennett coaching. Nearly as tough a gig to come in after Kurt Gidley playing at the Newcastle Knights, mate. That would have been tough act to follow too, kids.
Mate, I was coming in after Andrew John, so yeah.
You done well. You done very good. Hey, listen, what about your Newcastle Knights, mate? You were pretty bullish last week, let's be honest. You obviously got a very young side, and there's a bit of talent still in that, but that was just a phenomenal victory, wasn't it?
Mate, it was. It was probably the big upset of the round. I think a huge effort from the Knights boys. Look, I don't think too many people would have backed the Knights in their tipping comp or put their money where their mouth was. But I was optimistic. I'm always optimistic. For my former team and the club that I love. But I just thought, mate, defensively, probably the best they've defended in years. It's been one of our poor parts of our game is our defence. And I think last year, we're leaking sort of average on 26 to 30 points a game, and you just can't compete against the top team. So I just thought we out-enthused the Roosters, which is pretty rare. We kept Tedesco pretty quiet, and I thought the longer the game went on, the Knights boys just grew in confidence, and an outstanding win at the Sydney Cricket Ground on a beautiful sunny day against the Roosters. So, mate, they come back home with a spring in their step, and but again, the challenge is for the Knights boys is
backing it up.
Backing it up, mate, because you can get yourself up for the big games against the Roosters. We play the West Tigers, and we have some inconsistency against them. So I'm sure Coach Adam O'Brien will be all over that.
Now, I have to say, and I want to bring this up, the Roosters are all talking after the game about there was a few players underdone. It doesn't matter, Gids. You step out round one and you're underdone. That's no one's fault.
Please, underdone. Mate, they've been training for 4 months.
Exactly.
4 months they've been training for, so... Don't give me that rubbish, underdone. Cop it on the chin and move on.
Correct. Hey, listen, let's move on to the Melbourne Storm, of course. Another fantastic round one victory. Craig Bellamy, he is just an absolute legend of the game. But it was a real somber kind of game in the end, wasn't it? Because they lost 3 key players. Christian Welch, the skipper, goes down with an Achilles. Smith and Jennings go down with some really serious injuries as well, Gids. It was just a crazy kind of weird feeling, that match, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, Matty. It must be heartbreaking. It's the second ruptured Achilles with Welch going down, and he's a real leader for the Melbourne Storm. We spoke about round one and how many Melbourne and Craig Bellamy have strung that round one win, but to lose 3 players in round one, it makes it tough. They've got Cameron Munster coming back in this week, which big fan of his game. I like when he's taking control. He's obviously got some aggression in his game, and he's running the ball. But still a blow. Brandon Smith as well. He's a big loss for him. I don't think it's as long term, but Jennings and Wells, their two long-term injuries, which is tough.
And just innocuous little kind of movements, wasn't it? Like just a little bit of a shimmy and a shake and bang, your Achilles goes and bang, your ACL goes. It's crazy.
Hey, mate, that's the thing. You see, most of the time you see with both of those injuries, Achilles or ACL, no one's touching them. It's not in a tackle. They're not getting twisted. It's not foul play. It's, I don't know. I think the physios and the sports scientists still scratch their head and work out how and why.
Absolutely. Hey, one thing that I loved from the weekend, Ryan Poppenhuisen, Melbourne Storm, mate. He has got the best mullet in the competition I've seen. That is the best haircut I've seen for years, kids. And he's becoming a bit of a cult figure down at the Melbourne Storm, isn't he?
Matty, he is for sure, mate. I think he's a New South Welshman too. Let me just drop that one in there. But mate, let me tell you a quick story. In Curry, which is just up the coalfields, they have a mullet fest, and man, I reckon if Pappenhausen went in that, he'd clean it up. He'd take the gold medal.
Mate, it is brilliant. He's even got the blonde tips just kind of starting at the top, and they've got a bit of top deck action happening as well. It is magnificent. So if you've got a mullet, or you've got one of your mates has got a mullet, drop us a line, okay? We want to see it. We'll show the best mullet week in, week out if we get enough of them too.
Yeah.
Did you ever rock the mullet, mate?
Mate, I didn't rock the mullet. I rocked the rat's tail, not during my footy career, during my sort of early teens, and pretty mean rat's tail, mate. But geez, looking back at it now, horrible, horrific.
That is shocking, the old rat's tail.
Yeah, terrible.
Will they ever make the comeback big time?
Mate, I had two older brothers. I can't believe they didn't hold me down and cut it off, which I'm trying to remember. Maybe they did in the end.
I love it, mate. Well, I'll tell you what, we want to see the best mullet, that is for sure. Hey, listen, let's have a look at round 2 games now. Kicking off, of course, Thursday night, the Melbourne Storm and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And head-to-head, these two teams, $1.39 the Storm, $3 the Rabbits. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of interest in this game, Gids, isn't there?
Yeah, I can't take the Rabbits on that one, mate. Melbourne.
I thought they might have bounced back. I just thought they might be, they might have been really disappointed with last week and they might have a red-hot go. I don't know.
Yeah, mate, I know Storm have got a few blokes back in their team, and Munster obviously being that one. He kind of the heart and soul, and he's obviously a great runner and a great ball player. But I think he can bring plenty to Melbourne again this week. There's been a lot of talk about Latrell returning after his suspension. He's been very honest about his tackling technique that got him into trouble. He's not going to change it. He's told everyone, and he's happy with the way he plays the game. So it'll be interesting to see how aggressive he comes into this game. But I still can't go past the Storm there. I think I've seen last year that Melbourne had put 50 on him in their last game too. So I know that's in the past, but still, I'm pretty strong Melbourne in this game.
Yeah, been well supported all week too, the Storm, that is for sure. Friday night footy, then we go to St George Illawarra Dragons taking on the Penrith Panthers. St George, $3.75. The Panthers, $1.28. Everyone's jumped into the Panthers, obviously, off the back of that round 1 victory. You expect them to get the job done again here, Gids?
I do. I can't give absolutely. After their performance last week and some uncertainty I had around Panthers, I was wrong, that's for sure. And I think they'll only take plenty of confidence from that and belief again. And take it into round 2. And I just, there's always some uncertainty around the Dragons. I don't know. There's always some controversy around players and player unrest. And I know I just heard this morning again that Tarek Sims is maybe looking to go to Melbourne, or they're looking to offload him. And there was some talk about that last year. And I just don't think that is great for club culture. So, mate, you want to be under the radar, when you're playing during the footy season. And you certainly don't want your teammates being spoken about going to a rival club after round 1.
No, that's shocking, isn't it? That's unbelievable. Never unheard of, to be honest. But let's move along to the next game. Friday night action again. Sydney Roosters taking on Manly. Now, this is a big game. Both coming off losses in round 1. $1.80 for the Roosters. Manly at $2. This is back at the SCG. Friday night football. It is going to be on like Donkey Kong.
Yep, for sure. This will be. Both teams now need to bounce back. There's a lot of expectation on both teams for that first game, and they'll both clubs and both coaches will be driving their standards really high. They'll be there'll be some pretty honest conversations and some pretty uncomfortable video sessions, I reckon, on the back of the weekend's game. And this is going to be a real cracker. I think the Roosters actually bounced back from their loss a bit better than Manly. So I'm going with the Roosters on that one. I think still close. I think Roosters 1-12 for me.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. A little bit of value there then. Hey, let's move along then to Saturday, 3 o'clock. This game, Gold Coast Titans up against the New Zealand Warriors. And, well, the Titans, a little bit stiff to lose that kind of first round. It could have gone either way. There's a few decisions. There's a few penalties and all that, kids, that just didn't go their way. They're $1.37 heading into this game against the Warriors, $3.10. I actually like Gold Coast. I think they're going to be one of the really big improvers in season 2022.
Well, Matty, remember I said last week I mentioned that that semi-final game they lost against the Roosters, which they should have won. So they should have iced that last play to get into round 2. And they made the top 8. They had an opportunity to get to round 2 of the semi. So I really do feel like they're a club that are finally believing their ability under Justin Holbrook. So they got some great players. I was really impressed with Jaden Campbell. Preston Campbell's young bloke. He's only, he's only small and reasonably skinny, and he's only young those too. So he's only going to get better. But he's tough, he's brave, he's quick, his footwork's great. Seen Fafita in the clear, which I'm sure would have been scary for the fullback. So I like the way the Titans are building. I like the confidence they've got at the moment, and I'm on the Titans for this game.
Yeah. Do you reckon that might win easy? Do you reckon 12 plus or something, Gids, 13 plus?
Look, I think I have no idea about the Warriors at the moment. I admire their bravery over the last few years, but I'm just not sure what they're going to turn up with each week. And that's never great as a player when you go into the game like that. But I'm on the Titans here. I'm on the Titans.
I'm with you too, mate. Hey, let's move along. 5:30 Saturday afternoon. Cronulla Sharks, $2.25 taking on the Parramatta Eels, $1.65. I was impressed with the Eels first round. I thought they were good.
Yeah, it was still a competitive performance against the Titans up there. So, mate, they would have been disappointed if they'd gone down late in that game. But they probably more disappointed in the Sharks. I sort of talked them up last week with some of the players they'd signed. Obviously, Craig Fitzgibbon couldn't be there at the game. He was under isolation at that time. But I was a little bit disappointed in their performance. I think the Eels will go on with another win this week for me. I probably think it's going to be 13 plus for me, which I think there's some decent odds around that. $3, $3.50 maybe.
Perfect, mate. I like it. A little
bit of one, right?
Little bit of value for the punters, Gids. That's what we want to hear. Now, Saturday night, it is the Cowboys, the North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Canberra Raiders. Raiders $1.54, Cowboys $2.50. Always hard to beat on their home deck. They narrowly, it was a scrappy old affair against the Bulldogs last week. Narrowly go down by a couple of points. Probably a little bit of value, do you reckon, the Cowboys?
I think so, mate. So that game, the Cowboys versus the Dogs Sunday night, I think everyone was winding down from their footy weekend, mate. And let's be honest, the excitement didn't live up to it didn't live up to the game there. It was raining, it was wet, it was pretty ordinary. It was a low-scoring game. But look, for the Raiders, for me, I did have some question marks over them on how they go on the back of last year. But look, I liked them. I'm a big fan of Jack Whiten. He's tough. He's resilient. He's a real competitor. I thought he played really well. Joe Tapine played really tough. He's got a great offload. And Whitehead, I thought he played that lock role really impressively. He played like a ball player, which a lot of clubs are doing. Instead of having that sort of 3 front rowers, they're going with a ball playing lock, which I thought he had a great game himself. So I'm all over the Raiders in this one.
Righto, beautiful, mate. Let's move along to Sunday football. Newcastle Knights, your Knights, big fella, taking on the West Tigers. $1.45, the Knights. West Tigers, $2.75. Poor old Madge, he hasn't got much here to pull out, but I reckon he'd be pulling a bit out at the moment. They're just so hot and cold, aren't they, the West Tigers?
Hot and cold. And look, to be honest, I've got to say that my team, the Knights, have been in that category, probably similar to what the Dragons were. We're all sort of in that uncertain zone of, are the Knights fair income this year? Are they going to back it up against the West Tigers this week? And for the West Tigers, where are they at? Are they going to provide some excitement and some stability and some consistency for their fans? So I I like that Dane Laurie as fullback. I think he's a real danger for the Knights. But for the Knights boys, Adam O'Brien and new captain Kalen Ponga, look, this is a must-win game. I know it's round 2, but if they're serious about being consistent this year, first home game of the year, coming off beating the Roosters, mate, people are going to be watching the Knights in this game, and they're going to say if they're fair income, they'll chalk this one up as a win.
Oh, I'll tell you what, they'll be up and about too. Don't worry about that if they can get 2 and 0.
Mate, won't they? Won't they? They'll be up and about all right.
Hey, listen, final game on Sunday, 6:15, of course. Canterbury Bulldogs taking on the Brisbane Broncos, both looking to go 2 and 0, which would be a fantastic start for both these teams, really.
Yeah, we spoke about the expectations on the Dogs and whether they'd sort of gel quick enough. They got off to a scrappy win, but you know what? A win's a win. I've seen Baz's press conference. He was really proud of him. But also, I could see the Broncos taking some belief and some confidence from that one. Adam Reynolds back in the team after his COVID stint off round 1. My best player on the field was Albert Kelly. I played against Albert Kelly, played Newcastle for a little bit. I played against him in the Super League when I was playing at the Warrington Wolves. He's a competitor. He's tough. He's skillful. He seems to read the game well. I don't know if you've seen that intercept where he went 70 metres last week, which was, you know, a rocks or diamond sort of play, but he pulled it off. I thought he played great, and I think him and Adam Reynolds can be a really good halves partnership. So I'm back in the Bronx there.
Yeah, they've got some really good, exciting players, haven't they? And I think that's the style of footy they're going to run with, which I think will be great. Great for the competition. Now, Gids, what's your locks for the weekend, mate? What are we thinking? You're going to multi a couple up, the couple that you're really keen on?
I haven't gone the multi-stage just yet. I need to put a bit more time, and I just want to see a couple of games unfold at the moment. But look, mate, I'm going to go the Knights. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to go Knights 1-12. We have had some challenges in overcoming the West Tigers over the years, so I can just see, you know, a great game, a great crowd, our first home game in a long time at McDonald Jones Stadium. So I expect the players to take a lot of belief out of last week. 1-12 for me, decent values around the $3 mark. So I'm on the Newcastle Knights boys for that one.
Love it, mate. Now, have you got a little bit of value as well, mate? We want something with a bit of odds for the punters out there.
Yeah, well, I did say Roosters Manly game would be a tight one, but there's a bit of value in the Roosters in 13 plus. They're 375. So
I love it.
I know Trent Robinson. I've been coached by Robbo over the years, and I think he'd be holding everyone, you know, pretty accountable after that first win. I think there was a lot of criticism on the back of that. A lot of people had the Roosters in their top 4 and potential premiership winners before round 1. I'm expecting a big turnaround from them this week. There is some value in 13 plus with the Roosters around that 375 mark.
Love it, kids. Absolutely love it, mate. Well, I tell you what, you started off with a bang last week, mate. It was sensational. We've lasted to episode number 2 of the Don't Argue. We haven't been given the bumperoo yet, but we want the people to get involved, kids, don't we? We want them to get involved. Send their videos, their celebratory videos in, the best mullet, whatever you think. You might have a video of kids from years ago. Send it in to us. We want to see it.
You know what? I'll be at the footy on Sunday. Headlock me, grab me, take a photo, post it, tag Palmer Bet in it, and or you know what? Give me a spray. I'm happy with that too. If I'm walking past and I'll give your team a bag and on here, or I've called them out that they're not up to it. Then grab me for that as well.
I absolutely love it, mate. Hey, listen, get involved with Palmer Bet. Download the app. It's that simple, and always gamble responsibly. It's as simple as that, kids. Love your work, mate. You are 100%. Getting to the footy over the weekend. Go those Newcastle Knights, mate.
All the best. Good punting.